In an effort to make city government more accessible to its citizens, the City of Santa Maria is offering tours of City Hall at Broadway and Cook Street. Logan Anderson spoke to Mark Vandekamp about the program and how you can set up a tour for your group.
So, how many of these tours do you give annually, you think?
Well, the most I've ever given in a year is 16. It entirely depends upon the level of interest from schools. Usually it's, so far in the last few years, it's been private schools. It's Pacific Christian, which was here today, is one that repeatedly returns. And there used to be a few more tours that I would do for exchange students. There was a very kind woman who took care of the exchange student program and would give me a call and we would do them. We basically try to provide them to tell our story and let people know, so what is City Hall all about? And beyond City Hall, what city services does my city provide for everyone? And this is a great way to do it. It takes away the mystery. Always try to make sure there's a lot of time for questions and answers so people can get that transparency that they want. They want to know what's going on, as well as talking about how the process works if you'd like to run for an office or if you'd like to get onto a commission, which is sometimes a stepping stone to get to the city council.
Very true.
In recent years, it's only been maybe 4 or 5 tours per year, but we have when we're available, we do them, and generally a phone call to the city at 925-0951 extension 2200, which goes to the administration at City Hall at the city manager's office, and I'll take a look at the calendar and see what we can do. We try to do tours of significant size group, like 15, 20 people. We really try to cater to schools because it's part of civics. It's a great way to learn about democracy, to learn about local government dealings, and we're pretty representative of many cities. We're a little different in the fact we're a full service city, but a lot of the information on the tour is transferable to almost any other municipality. We are I think the 67th or 69th largest city in the state out of 482, but there are a lot of things that are common. And we, if it weren't for the public, we wouldn't have jobs. So we are public servants, and this is part of pulling back the curtain to answer questions and just be open and say, this is why the building's here, and this is who made it, here's the functions we do. And this is not the very first city hall that was in Santa Maria. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th building. So there's stories about the previous locations as well, which are not so well documented, but there are some interesting stories about those. And it's just, I find it gratifying to have the opportunity to share the story with people. And when a lot of these kids that come in, they will tell their friends back at school. And the parents come in, and I hear sometimes from them later on, or they'll ask questions, I've always wanted to know about this, or I try to actually tell them, we're very open, check out our website, check out our local media, we do a great job of sharing what's going on, but there are other questions that you may not always wonder, like today you heard, where are the cracks in the walls from?
Right.
But frequently the questions are, how do I get a job at the city? Or what kind of jobs do you guys do?
Right.
Or do you know a police officer? But once we start talking about the building, you see their eyes open up. Like, oh wow, so it's that old. My grandpa's that old. Right. And sometimes people on tours, and it's fun to me, they'll say, Abel Maldonado is related to me.
Right.
Or one of those people up here is one of my relatives.
Right.
That's what's fun, because it reminds me, you know what? We do work for them, and chances are that a lot of these students are related to somebody or know somebody who works for us, but we're all working for them, and it's pretty cool to make that connection.
As the tour guide, the guy who parses the stories, what does this history mean to you?
Well, I'm fascinated by history. I have always loved it. When I was in high school, world history was my absolute favorite class. Had a great teacher, and I've been fortunate to do a little traveling around the United States and a little bit in Europe. But when I saw this building, I knew I wanted to work here because it's not modern. in every way. We have modern machinery and computers, and it's great because our residents deserve the best service, so we try to do what we can. But working in this building is really special because it's been here, and I respect that there were a lot of people who came before me, and a lot of big decisions about how Santa Maria looks or doesn't look were made in this building and in that room over there at the council chambers. And that comes through. It's fun. It's really fun to share that with the students and the parents and the teachers because they are hungry to learn. They're from a school. And to me, I don't mind that they're young. And I love that because they're like sponges and they want to know stuff. Prior to me doing the tours, there were a group of docents who were doing these, and age took its toll. By the time basically what happened is they just became too old, and sometimes, unfortunately, were afflicted with what age does. Hearing would go, they would be in their 70s, and they'd be real troopers, and I know this because I learned from them. They put together this docent book, and I've read this, and I've added to it, and I've added stuff from the Santa Maria Times, from Shirley, from you, and at some point there were maybe 6 of them, and I contacted each by phone, and they were reluctant to give up the role of the docent, but they had to because they no longer could move with the freedom they used to have. They couldn't quite hear all these little voices, and yet they were able to bestow upon all that knowledge and pass it on. So I'm trying to be selective on the tours, what I impart, because there's so much more. You could spend a whole day.
Sure.
But because of them, it's again an example of who went before me, and I can pass that on, and then eventually I'll pass it on to somebody else.
That's great.